Yeah, hey guys, this is Idris Alba of Property Preservation, your urban property preservation guy from Philadelphia. Well, the last video I posted, it was about things I hate about property preservation. So this video gonna be more about things I like about property preservation. And anybody that knows me, that one thing I like is money. So I'm going to talk a little bit about money and how I became rich from doing property preservation. Um, let's get it started. So when I first started property preservation, I knew that I would not start making any large sum of money right away because I was not very knowledgeable or skillful in the area of maintaining properties, much less foreclosed properties. And a lot of these foreclosed properties, they had a lot of, what you say, personal in them. And a lot of them had mold, insect, creatures living inside some of them. So I was not familiar with maintaining foreclosed properties. So when I started out, I was told that, hey, you may not make a lot of money. And I'm like, okay. So I started doing some form of work for the property preservation in like May, June 2014. And I didn't receive a check for like over a month, almost 2 months. So I was angry. I was angry because I was doing work at these properties now, and I'm like, when I'm going to get a check, to the point where I called them. It's like, hey, I did some work a month ago, and they informed me that, hey, I will be getting paid on a certain date, but I thought it was like an earlier date. So I'm spending money to get the work, and I'm paying guys, and I'm not getting paid at all. So I was very, very dismayed, displeased, disheartened, just not feeling good. So after a while, I received a check. I received my first check, right? And my first check, let me see, was like for $358. My heart dropped. I'm like, hold up. I've been doing all this work for like over a month and a half, and all I got on this check was $358. I was extremely upset, displeased, like negative thoughts negative thoughts were going through my mind. Explicitive words I was utilizing while I was in the truck going to a property. I was amped up to see the first check to see what's going to be on there. And let's just say I was not happy. The next check now, it was a little bit bigger than the first check, but I'm like, there's no money. And I had to pay. Remember, I'm paying people to help me do the work because I was not familiar with doing the work. So I was paying individuals. Then you have to pay for like gas. You got to pay for tolls. So you got to pay all these things at first, and no money coming in. So after then the third check came, it was a measly one, and I was very, very dismayed as well. But one thing I learned, they were not giving me a lot of work because I was still in training to see if I was in training. They wanted to see if I was able to get this work done on time, and if I was familiar with the work, and if I could handle the workload, because at that time they had a lot of foreclosed properties and they wanted to dump the work onto him. But I did not know that at first, to be honest with you. I'm just like, yo, they're sending the work, I'm knocking it out or whatever. But it was not a lot. However, as the end of the year came around, so that's around November, September, November, I saw maybe a check or two that was promising. It was maybe like 2 or 3 grand or 6 grand, 5 grand. So at that time, that was like maybe one of the biggest check I hold in my hand at the time. Being in the military, I get your bonus maybe like 7 or 10 grand, something like that. So hit your bank account, but not in your hand, because at the time they were sending the checks out. So I had to check, and I was smiling, but at the same time, you got to think that 6 grand, you may be profiting maybe like 3 grand, 2,500, because if you calculate the gas you paid throughout the time you were knocking this work out, tool, the materials you had to purchase to get some of this job done, and the guys that help you, you know, you were profiting a little, not that much, but it was okay. It was decent money for a month because at the end of the, let's just say that was I. So we got paid twice a month. So if you get one check and it was $6,000, right, and you're profiting 2,500, and if you take tax out, you might profit like 17, 1,800. Let's just say that, and that's not bad because I was not making that much money in 2 weeks at the time. So I was pleased, but like, all right, it was something good to wet my mouth with, and a little smile. So it kind of motivated me to want to do more. So I'll never remember I was at a property of Westchester, and they emailed me and said, "Hey, we decided to take you on as a full-time contractor. I know you went through the training process. We were pleased with the work that you have been doing." And I'm like, all right, awesome. So then they sent me a letter and they also called me and tell me just make sure I maintain the work that I've been doing throughout the training process. I'm like, I can do that. Because at the end of the day, unfortunately, at times money motivated me. So I was able to do that. So my partner at the time that was helping me, my elder, I called him Lloyd, and we were out there knocking out the work. So now I did that, and I'll never forget December 2014. It was popping. I got few checks by then, and they were decent, nothing crazy. But now I had maybe like 5, 10 grand or something like that in my bank account, in a business bank account. At the beginning of the year, I didn't have anything, so at the end of the year, I was able to have like 5, 10 grand in bank account. That's awesome. So I was happy, and I was able to take a quick trip to Florida. Unfortunately, when you're young and you come across some money that you don't normally come across on a regular basis, you want to go spend some of it. But I didn't squander it because I know I had to reinvest it into the business. So I take a little thousand here, go hang out in Miami or something like that, which was cool. Actually, I went to hit up my father, and Miami's close by, so I had to stop on Miami real quick. Then 2015 came around, so now I'm a little bit seasoned. So 2015 was a good year. So I start getting familiarized with. I had to get a work van because I had a Altima at the time. I couldn't bring my lawnmower equipment in it. So my helper at the time, Lloyd, my coworker, I would say, he had a minivan. So we were able to use his minivan to carry on the lawnmowers and some of the equipment, and I was able to store some of the equipment in his garage. So that was, and I was very grateful and thankful for that. After that, I purchased like a used work van. It lasted me like 6 months. So by like the middle of 2015, it was over. I purchased that work van like the end of, close to the end of 2015. So by, no, close to the end of 2014, I should say. End of 2014, going on 2015, I purchased it. And by the middle of 2015, no good. Then 2015 came around and work started coming on a regular basis. And I'm like, wow. So I was out there knocking out the work. I was out there. So at the time I was there with my guy, Carl, because I had my regular job, you could say. And I was doing the military in 2015. At the time, I was still working with SEPTA. So I was doing Carl. I was doing SEPTA. I was doing the property preservation. I was doing the military. So very tired. When I say tired, I would literally be driving, sleeping. I had to pull over on the highway several times to sleep, to get like a 5 minute nap, to have the energy to drive to the next property. I'll smack my face sometime, like that tired. But the money was motivating me. So now by 2015, I started getting these checks, right? Like 5,000, 4,000, 3,000. So I'm starting getting these checks on a regular basis. So, which was very, very, it was, it motivated me to keep going. So then in 2015, they sent me like 4 or 5 roof jobs, right? And I think two was in New Jersey, one was in Trenton, New Jersey, and had another one over in Philly getting done. So all of them was several $1,000s. So think about, I didn't have enough money at the time also to pay to buy the materials and pay the guys. So I don't remember how I finagled that, but I was able to get one of those jobs pushed back a little bit later, so I could. completed the other job, I didn't have money to pay to get the job done because I have to pay these guys and buy the material and get the work completed and send it in to the company I work with. Then they pay me. So anyway, so 2015 May June, I remember that my account was like almost complete because I had to spend all my money to get these jobs done, right? And maybe I had like few hundred, literally few $100s in there. But I know my next check gonna be husky. I didn't exactly know how much. Long story short, I will never forget. I was up Roosevelt Mall with my homeboy Matt, one of my coworkers at that too. He been a ride or die brother. I can't never say anything bad about that guy. And we were up Roosevelt Mall. I had to do something for my mom, and I saw the check, $22,000. My eyes open. I never in my life saw that much money one time on a check. Plus, it was mine. So at that time, if I had quit property preservation, I had $22,000 in my pocket, in my hand. That's mine. Yeah, maybe I would have to pay some tax on that, but when you write off your expenses, maybe pretty sure all that check would have been mine at that point in time, right? So I was extremely excited. When I say motivation to want to go harder, motivation. Then throughout 2015, I was able to with the business do like 120 something thousand in income with the business. So I generate like 100. But if you take tax and the guys you paid, maybe 80, 70 grand, something around there. Because no, yeah, no, my profit margin was higher because I was out there more often doing the work and I had help here and there. So I was doing majority of the work at that time. So my profit margin was large. I was not paying myself because I had my regular job and I had the military. But by the middle of May, I had to quit SEPTA because the workload was getting very heavy for me. So now 2015, knock out the work. 2015 was a good year. It was a good year. Like I said, I was doing most of the work at the time, so more money in my pocket. So I was able to do a little bit of freedom, spending some money as well. I hit up the club once or twice with my homie. We were having fun. Then 2016 came around. I had to get a new work van because the other one I had was used and it gave me problems. So I got a new one. So now I was able to hire someone to come work with me, which was my cousin. So now I had him and he was proficient in the business because he was working with my stepbrother before, but situations happened and he started working with me. So now I had him to go out there and then I was getting enough work so I could have somebody else go out there with him, or times I would go out there with him. Both of us would go out there together. So at first, when he started working with me, we started going together. So when the workload was coming in heavy, so workload is coming in heavy, and I have to go out there, do the work, come home, go through the photos because we have to take photos to justify everything that we do at these properties. So I have to come home, go through the photos, label the photos, upload the photos, submit the photos, respond to email, and I still have military obligation. I still have obligation with my client. So it was very strenuous. At the time, I was not making enough money to hire someone else to do paperwork, right? So I was doing like dog on there, everything. So remember, I still had to maintain all the expenses, bills, and this time I had to start paying for workman compensation, even though I didn't necessarily have any worker. I had 1099 workers or subcontractors. But anyways, so that was 2016. I was going. I'm still out there doing work, and my cousin's helping me. So now it was a very very good year because now I made way more money than I did the following year. So the following year I did like a 120. This year I was doing like maybe 180, 190, somewhere around there. So and I'm saving the money. I'm not squandering, but I'm still having fun. Saving the money, I'm like, okay, cool. I like the way it's going, but at the end of the year, I got to pay tax on everything, you know. And then 2017, it just went away where I made the most money I ever did, and I started getting checks for like 19,000, 17,000, 12,000, 15,000. So now in 2015 and 2016, I was getting like $8,000, $9,000 check, $10,000 checks, which was cool. But now 2017, I'm starting to get 22, 24, 19, 19. So these large checks, and I'm like, so I'm saving money. I was able to purchase a new truck. Start saving money. Like, yo, I want to buy a house. So at this time, I'm just. It's normal for me to look at my bank account, see 30, 40 grand, and literally a year, 2 year, 3, 4 years earlier, that was not the case. we need property preservation. You got to work and you save the money. Once you're saving the money and doing a lot of the work yourself, it allows you to save more money. And when you save more money, then you have more money to invest in yourself and invest in the business and make the business grow more. So by so between 2016, 2017, 2018, and in 2017, I had to call more clients. So now I had more clients I was working with. The more clients you have, that increase your revenue. Of course, increase your expenses as well. But if you're managing your money right, then you should be good. So taking on more clients helped me increase my yearly, you know, my yearly gross, my yearly bottom line, plain and simple. So the good things about property preservation is once you put in that work and you start saving your money and the companies are able to rely on you, you're going to start getting those big husky checks. And today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you some of the first checks and some of the last checks, because a lot of time people talk about I was making such and such money, and that's false. And the largest checks I ever get at one time. So I normally get two checks in a month. The largest checks I ever got at one time, I think it was like $26,000, and at that time I had a whole bunch of money in the bank account, so I could easily took that check and go blow it. But I wouldn't do that dumb stuff. I'm a grown man. I'm intelligent, so I wouldn't do foolishness like that. But when you're younger, in your 30s, late 20s, making those type of money, you tend to want to do silly things. But thank God, I have a little bit more common sense. But now, I'm going to show you guys some of these checks that I was able to. I'm gonna show you guys one of the first ones. This, can you guys see it? This is one of the first ones. I received $358. That was so sad. This was another one. Look, 100, and it was 100 and what? 135, right? And these are way back when. Another one. 1,000, $1,029. 1,000, 1,029. If you could see it, you guys could see it. So, and then this is another one from 2016. Let's see. You guys could see this. This was another. This was another $9,000 check. It was another $9,000 one. If you guys could see that, seemed like six though. And let's just say, um, let's see if we could show you some of the crazier ones. This was another one for 19,778. Another one for 19,500. You can see the dates on some of these. Another one for 17 grand. So these were the checks that after a while they were coming in on a regular basis. And the first time I got my largest one, this was the first one back in 2015. The largest one I had received at the time for 22.5. What was that date? Has a date on there, 2015, sometime in July, like a year after being in the business. Crazy. So yeah, I'm telling you, those are the reason why I still maintain in the property preservation business.